Now let's tell you about a nightmare at 37,000 feet. Yes, we're talking about that Singapore Airlines flight where chaos erupted. You may have seen the videos already. It was sheer horror. The plane was flying from London to Singapore. It suddenly encountered extreme turbulence. Within 3 minutes, the aircraft dropped over 6,000 feet. The freak weather tore through the plane's interior. Bags were falling out of the overhead cabins. One passenger died on the flight and dozens of others were injured. Here is the full story.
This plane looks like it's been through an earthquake. The entire cabin is in disarray. The ceiling has been ripped open. Masks are dangling. Overhead compartments have dents. There's blood on a passenger's face as well as on some of the seats. These passengers have lived through a nightmare. They were cruising at 37,000 feet when suddenly their plane was hit by extreme turbulence.
I think the entire thing happened within the span of like less than 10 seconds. Like it was really, really quick.
That's Zafran Azmir. He was on board this flight. When the plane took off from London, everything seemed fine. But about 10 hours into the flight, all hell broke loose.
If I remember correctly, I think the seatbelt signs were off. There were people within the lavatories and the crew that were working. But I saw people from across the aisle just like going completely horizontal, hitting the ceiling and landing back down in like really awkward positions. People like getting massive gashes in their head, concussions.
There were over 200 passengers on board. Turbulence is quite common while flying, but no one can prepare for a freak incident like this one. The passengers were having breakfast. That's when the plane took a dive. It dropped by over 6,000 feet in just 3 minutes. The flight was supposed to land in Singapore, but the severe turbulence forced the pilot to divert the plane to Bangkok. Everyone realized the full extent of the damage only after the plane landed. Passengers were thrown out of their seats. Many of them had gashes on their heads. 73-year-old Jeff Kitchen was among those passengers too. Unfortunately, he didn't survive the ordeal.
Immediate kind of disbelief at first, and then the plane felt very level, and it was obvious the gentleman needed some help, so I got up and helped some other passengers get him out of his seat, and we laid him on the floor near the bulkhead so that the medics on the aeroplane, there were some passengers who thankfully were medics, could administer CPR to the gentleman on the aeroplane. They gave CPR for I think about 20 minutes or so.
Kitchen died on the plane, presumably after he suffered a heart attack. The airline has issued an apology and the government of Singapore has started a probe.
On behalf of Singapore Airlines, I would like to express my deepest condolences to the family and loved ones of the deceased. We are very sorry for the traumatic experience.
But everyone is looking for answers. How could this have happened? While turbulence goes hand in hand with flying, such extreme cases are quite rare. But experts say that they are becoming more frequent and they are blaming climate change.
Over the last 40 years, severe turbulence has increased by 55%, moderate turbulence by 37%, and slight turbulence or light turbulence by about 17%. So as the weather changes, certainly it is getting more turbulent.
Aircraft are capable of withstanding extreme weather, but the weather is an unpredictable force. Singapore's report will help bridge some of our knowledge gaps. But until then, the best thing passengers can do is to keep their seatbelt on throughout the flight.
Firstpost reports from the world's second largest continent. Hello, I'm Alison Lagrange. A very warm welcome from Durban, South Africa. We get you the news and the newsmakers from Africa. South Africa goes to the polls on the 29th of May. I will track the election and bring you ground reports. Is it the end of the road for the African National Congress? And will former President Jacob Zuma stage a dramatic comeback? From elections to climate change to innovations and opportunities. As the world's attention shifts, we report from Africa, the heart of the global south. Join me every weekday live on Firstpost.